Beck, do you enjoy the Semillon?
Oh, absolutely crisp, zesty, and this is what this is about, Michael. I'm about to show you beer battered fish. Unbelievably easy recipe to take on board. It's about cold beer, cold batter, fish straight into hot oil, and then you'll see the zhuzh. We've got hand-cut chips. We're going to serve it with some mushy peas as well too. We've got the citrusy zest of some lemons and some aioli, which you've made yourself, so I've brought that along.
I did. And out of such few ingredients.
Yep. We've just got a white fleshy fish here, already cut into fillets and portions. We're going to coat it in the flour so when I make the batter sticks to it.
Yep.
Quick dunk in here and then straight into the hot oil.
Okay,
so
fantastic. So I take a piece of this.
Yeah.
Just in the flour.
Yep, light dusting, just leave them on the side.
I see.
Yep, not too much.
Okay, just dust it so it's all covered.
Yep, fabulous. Okay. And now I'll make the batter at the same time. Both plain flour. We're taking some salt, so we just need a little bit of seasoning into this. A little bit of pepper, if you wish. White pepper's also a good thing. You could put fresh herbs in here now. Just
what sort of herbs?
Oh, freshly chopped parsley is a great one. You could put some lemon zest in as well. Experimentation. Whatever takes your fancy.
I love it.
We want our batter to be cold. Essentially, we're going to go half beer and half cold water. Now look, right, it's already frothing up. So we're going to use that yeast.
Look at that.
That
is
there.
Fantastic.
And this is what's going to make our frothy, lively batter. So I'm pouring it in. If you actually wouldn't mind just putting in a bit more for me.
I will. You tell me when.
So I'll stir. And this is almost like we've seen when we're making doughs and other batters at times, that'll do. We're looking at a yeast, but we're actually adding yeast by way of adding the beer instead of actually adding yeast on its own.
Well, it gets very frothy.
It does.
And that's the whole point?
Yeah, this is actually working with the flour. So we're getting the lumps out. And then for this, maybe I could have held back a wee bit on the beer.
Would you like me to just mix there?
If you'd like to.
Oh, don't mind at all. I've got to do something.
You are the man. And then just a wee bit of cold water. Generally I would have gone half-half, but for where we are right now, let's keep going with this. I think maybe a little bit more salt, but do it to taste as well too. And at this point, just taste. I mean, it's only flour and beer and water.
What does that taste like?
It's not trash hot.
I can smell the beer.
But we need to, I guess, get our seasoning level right. So we don't want it too strong for the salt, but enough to just add a little bit more flavour because it's just beer and flour.
Is that enough salt for you? I can just pick it up.
Yeah, no, that's fine. A few more fillets, if you don't mind.
Not a problem.
To flour those. Now, the consistency of this, you don't want it too thick because it will just clog and cloy. We just want a batter that is thin enough to coat the fish, and once it goes into the hot oil, it's actually going to sort of metamorphosize itself and sort of spread out. But if it's too thick, it's going to take too long to cook. And then you'll start getting overcooked bits, and then it'll be a bit doughy in the middle. And we're working with fish, and the thing about fish, it's like, you know, crisp white wine, very, very quick.
Okay, so Beck, what can I do next?
Okay, probably in a home fryer, take 2 fillets at once. Take it very, very slowly. A home fryer is not very deep. You just need to make sure once that piece of fish is in there that you actually seal the batter first. It could go straight to the bottom, and this is when things stick to the basket because we need to form a casing around the fish and a little bit of a crust before it actually hits the bottom.
I get that. That's good advice. Okay.
That's the sound we want to hear. We want to hear that zhuzh straight away.
Okay.
I think you're right to let go. Okay,
number 2. Beautiful. I get that, Beck, because, you know, it's got all the coating on it, and if you dropped it to the bottom, it would actually seal with the basket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there's nothing worse than having pieces of fish spread over your chips.
Especially when, you know, you're looking forward to this so much.
It won't take very long. It will keep cooking once we take it out, so don't cook it to absolute nagunti end, but take it out just before. But we still want a bit of colour in the batter. We don't want anything looking a little bit too pale and dull, basically.
Okay.
Now, we've got our hand-cut chips. I've parboiled the potatoes. Just a bit. They're not going to be squishy like you'd mash them, but just enough so that they're still holding together. Took them out of the pot of boiling water, which had a hint of salt in it, and then I've just given them a light dusting in plain flour. Now, adding the plain flour is just going to increase the surface area. By increasing the surface area, you've just got greater crispiness because the oil's attacking it from a few different angles.
Right.
As well. The other thing is, with your chips, do the salting once they come out as well. It's one of those things, no point putting salt on beforehand.
Well, if you're going to put salt on anything, you put them on your chips, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, look, I think... are we close there, Beck?
We are. We're done.
Okay, terrific.
Good call. Okay, so allow that to drain just for a little bit, and then take the fish out. The mushy peas, they aren't necessary, but they're going to add a lot of colour here too. Simply take a bag of frozen peas into the pot, warm water, bring it up to temperature. Don't even let it boil because you've got beautiful sweet peas overcooked and you've lost them. Bring it to the boil, drain into the blender or just into a normal mixing bowl with a whisk or a wooden spoon. A little bit of, say, natural yogurt, some sour cream, a bit of salt and pepper, a squeeze of lemon. Now the citrus, this is the kind of thing, the acid's going to keep that colour in there, but this is going to give a vibrancy underneath our dish.
I was going to ask you that because, you know, I watched you prepare this earlier and the colour in those peas are just fantastic, and a lot of citrus fruit has a lot of antioxidants, so that's working along those lines, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is.
Okay.
And it's going to give a colour, and we spoke about this Australian thing. Well, we've got green and gold, so a little bit of mushy peas, not too much. They are quite sweet, but the vibrancy of colour going onto the plate. And I mean, if you have to have greens in your day, we'll just let it be that. That's pretty easy. Put our fries on.
Wow, that looks good already, Beck.
We're working with very fresh fish, and yes, it does have a tendency to fall apart.
That just shows it's fresh.
That's right. And then some of the aioli, Michael. Well done. I have to say, you've done a magnificent job.
Hey, I agonised over this.
You have a thing about aioli when you're making it. I'm not going to give you the recipe. It's fairly simple, but say Google one. It's egg yolks, some lemon juice to help cook the egg yolks, but also give us some acid, salt, pepper, and then whisk as
if you don't have a food processor, you just need a lot of arm muscles. Your arm's going to fall off.
And then very slow drizzle of oil, and it does take a lot of oil, but you can keep this in the fridge for a good few days, and you can have aioli with a multitude of things. And you've also added a herb here.
Yes, I did. I just thought a little bit of dill.
Yep, great, excellent. That aniseed, it's a bit like, say, tarragon. People associate fish and tarragon a lot. Dill's got that. It's also very gentle.
It's very aromatic too, isn't it, Beck?
Oh, yeah.
It stands apart from a lot of other herbs.
But again, green and gold.
Yep.
Here we go. Not too much aioli because it is fairly intense, and we have got a lot of oil in there. Just drizzle on the top, and it is great with the chips. And we'll finish with a lemon wedge catch.
Oh, look at that, Beck. Oh, that is fish and chips.
We have fish and chips.
Well done.
So, here's a toast to you and your beer battered fish and chips.
Traditional Australian fish and chips. Australian Hunter Valley Semillon. You can't do any better than that.
More on our website, and also, before we close, a thank you to our sponsors.